stage 3, we now fight Venus in her quote-unquote final form, goddess of desire and beauty. First we fought Venus, goddess of desire. Oh no, it was goddess of beauty, and then golden brilliance, and then now it's goddess of desire and beauty. Wow, wonderful. The theme of stage 3 are now constellation and stars and what have you. You'll notice in a minute. It has been a long time. Before you actually get to deal a good amount of damage to her, she will already fly away from you, Stinky. Instead, it will be replaced with a daffodil constellation, which will be in place of her. Any damage you deal to this constellation will be reflected back to her when she reappears later. To start off the gimmick, if you're not paying attention, there will be a reticle on your character and a constellation. This reticle means that you are being targeted. What a surprise. What is happening to her neck? This reticle will now fire stars at you, and some of them will drop stars. Collecting these stars will fill up your constellation. Whoa, where did this come from? As you were collecting stars, you notice that there are shooting stars that are traveling in a specific direction. If these shooting stars travel from left to right, those big cascading stars will now travel from left to right as well, and they do hurt. Your goal is to avoid them by using Silk of Praise to latch onto the constellation. Just like that. Completing the constellation will give you an invincibility shield later when Venus starts to use her very big, very wide damaging attack. That shooting star attack will happen twice. First time it was left to right, now it will appear on the opposite side. So same thing, give it some space before you teleport to the constellation via Silk of Praise. This one was cutting it a little too close. Any stars that you haven't collected within a few seconds will explode. And I want to remind everyone watching that these stars can also be a detriment whenever you use Silk of Praise. Remember in the first boss, the first time we fight Venus, the chalice was right behind Venus, and I was supposed to teleport to the chalice. I ended up teleporting to Venus instead because she was blocking the way. These stars can do the same. If you do not collect these stars, there is a chance, a very good chance, that they will block your way from safety. Using the Silk of Praise, if you line up with the constellation, you'll end up picking up the star. And that might be where you get blown to bits. So do keep that in mind. Here comes the constellation, the crab constellation that you just completed, providing you with an iframe for the incoming attack. And all the damage you dealt to that daffodil constellation now gets transferred to her. At this point in the stage, she's just gonna stay in the ground for a while. This gimmick, she's going to drop a lot of stars, so be sure to pick it up. There will be a big target on you, in which case you want to leave right after it stops following you, and then use Silk of Praise. If you move around too much, you're gonna start to panic, and things are gonna go south. You can also, during that time, collect stars to fill up your constellation to protect you from the damage. Be sure to collect it at the right time though. Now, keep this attack pattern in mind. Whenever she jumps and you see a big red area, get ready to use the Silk of Praise around and start to line up horizontally with the center of the circle. So for example, with this big circle over here, you want to line up just as about to complete its damage. Venus will drop, and you want to use the Silk of Praise to jump towards her, because as soon as she lands, stars will appear, will bombard the area around her. This is gonna happen again. See Venus jumping away from you and into this off-screen big circle. Again, you want to line up, so as soon as she lands and you hear that explosion or see that big explosion, the area is clear for you to use the Silk of Praise. If you don't, you eat a bunch of stars. Here comes another one. Running away with it will actually damage you. Each star will hit you and it will count. You don't get hit once for the entire attack, you get hit as long as you're inside. Venus's first real gimmick in stage 3 is not this one. This one is just a multi-hit. The more you hit, the smaller it gets, and you kind of just walk away. I am not delighted. So am I. Her first gimmick will be a constellation. She will jump off screen and you will see a daffodil constellation just like earlier. And then you will also see a twin constellation where there will be stars that aren't glowing. In solo play there are 2, and you also have the twin constellation above you, as well as a target on your character. This target lines up with these double circles, just like earlier. If the inner circle fills up, this target will stop following you and then proceed to fill up the outer circle and then inflict damage. Your goal is to drop the star into these areas. Any 2 will do. You can see there's another one here that's missing, and I believe there's another one off screen. You just need to fill up 2. Don't forget to jump. These stars hurt once they land. They make an impact. As soon as you finish the constellation on the ground, the pattern ends, but your constellation still remains to be filled. As soon as you finish the constellation, as well as the one above you, the twin constellations will appear on your left and on the right of the daffodil constellation. When the bar disappears, so will the daffodil, and now you'll be left with twin constellations. What for? Good question. Remember those shooting stars? Your twin constellations will now be the anchors for your Silk of Praise. These shooting stars travel from right to left, so the stars will start bombarding you from right to left. And once there's enough room, Use the Silk of Praise to teleport yourself to the right twin. Just like so. And immediately after, the opposite will occur, in which case you just want to travel to the left twin using the Silk of Praise. You see the amount of distance that you covered. As long as there are no interference in the middle, likely the stars, you'll be able to travel with no difficulty. Completing the twin constellation as well as the constellation above your head will unlock the 6th relic, as well as a mini Gargi for Venus. More stars. Remember, if there's a constellation above you, you want to collect them, and also you want to clean up the clutter. Okay, here's another attack pattern. You see Venus floating around, and you see this starry circle, this purple circle. This is your safe zone and your sign to run really fast, because stars will be bombarded around this area. You may also use the Silk of Praise just before she lands, so you can immediately teleport to the safe zone. You may also run. It's not too far ahead. I would advise that you stay in the middle so you have a bigger area to see where these safe zones will appear. That one didn't catch my eye, and I had to intuitively go to the right, because if she's not on the left, she's on the right. She finishes up with a big wide attack, and just like her previous attacks, as soon as she lands, use the Silk of Praise to avoid the bombardment around her. I didn't catch this in time. Thankfully, I had an iframe because I was just smashing buttons. When she goes to either side, she will wave her hand and she will cause a bunch of stars to bombard from left to right. You can also hide behind her to avoid this, but you can also use Silk of Praise, just like so. Remember to collect the stars when you can. They could be a hindrance to you. Imagine using the Silk of Praise to get to safety, and you ended up latching onto the star, you end up collecting it, and you don't get to move at all. Boom. Lights out for you. Here's another. I think you already know where this is going. Use the Silk of Praise on stage 3 and you unlock another neuron activation. Wow. Let's see. Venus will fly off screen. Daffodil constellation appears. And now you have this mirror between you and the character. Your goal here is to safely maneuver around the mirror. There will be holes in the mirror that will be punctured, marked by damage zones. As soon as these damage zones inflict their damage, there will be a visible circle with a clear area compared to where the mirror is. This clear area will be your safe zone. And all you need to do is follow these safe zones that are unlocked by these red damage zones. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This pattern will happen 3 times. 5 attacks on the mirror, and each of them will unlock a safe zone for you to stand on, followed by a constellation. You will be then marked with a star, a singular star, and you have just a few seconds to land it on this empty constellation area. Don't worry about jumping, it doesn't create a shockwave. That was just a precaution. So once you finish that constellation will damage the mirror, and you repeat it 2 more times. Successfully doing the first 2 instances will break the mirror and unlock your final relic. Now you don't need to hide in any safe zones because the mirror has been broken, but you still, however, need to finish the last constellation. More shooting stars, damage zone, Silk of Praise. Watch where she moves. This one is another attack pattern. This time the stars are circling her as she moves to the other side. All you gotta do is use Silk of Praise and move with her. This time it'll happen to the opposite side, and a damage zone will appear. You want to wait until the circle moves far enough from Venus before you use Silk of Praise on her, until the area explodes. And that is basically phase 1. Yeah, don't do what I did. Don't run with bombs. With the stars. Don't run with the stars. Don't chase stars. Target reticle. Big damage zone. Venus jumps. Silk of Praise. Nice. On to phase 2. Phase 2 is more or less the same. Like with Golden Brilliance, most of the attacks and patterns that you've already encountered will be amplified. It'll be a slight difference. This one, this will happen right after her little intro there. She will land. She will create a safe zone here for you to step on to avoid that bomb, and there will be a dash attack that Venus is going to perform. This one can be quote unquote countered. All you got to do is just hit her. There's no real timing to it. You just need to hit her as she collides, and then you'll have a mini groggy. Just like earlier, big damage zone. Venus jumps. Venus lands. Silk of Praise. Dodge the stars. You're on activation. Big groggy. Are we distracted? Or is it just slowing down for us? Who knows? More jumping. More praising. Okay, I didn't praise that time. Nice, that was a little too close for comfort. Shooting stars. So use the Silk of Praise to avoid it. Big area damage, Silk of Praise. And these stars are now bombarding. Collect the stars to get a shield. Praise, avoid it. Yeah, again, more of the same. And that's pretty much it for Venus, goddess of desire and beauty. You'll notice that there was a third difficulty for Venus, which is her ascended form. That would be your hidden toughest difficulty, as with the pattern for the recent Legion dungeons. I will do my best to cover the entirety of that difficulty, but the final form, the final form, doesn't appear until after this boss. We'll go through all the bosses plus an extra one. And that is it for the Venus Legion dungeon. All relics unlocked, all bosses praised, and the neurons have been activated. Etchaboikaizen, and I hope you give me a bit of praise for this tour guide. I did showcase a lot of activations, and you can use the silk to your heart's desire. You can even use the silk in midair and you get to drop to the floor. But who knows? Maybe it's not about clearing Venus Legion dungeon or about activating your neurons. Maybe it's the stars that we collect along the way. No, it's totally the neuron activation. It's your boy KAIZEN signing out, and I hope you have enough space and time for this tour. Peace.